are the most sophisticated music enthusiasts.
No, I'm just kidding. It's WVCW.
And what's going on, WVCW? We're back with another episode of Post to Post with your host, Mario Navarro.
Cooper Bonenberger.
And as always, how are you doing today, Coop?
Doing good. I'm personally doing great,
Oh.
but I know the world around us might be falling apart a little bit.
What do you mean? Explain it. Paint the picture that I'm not
Paint the
catching.
picture. Okay. So, walk up in the studio,
Uh-huh.
But we up in the stew. I almost punched my coffee over. That would have been disastrous. Air conditioning, not working. For what, 3 months now? Ever since the summer started, the air conditioning hasn't been working.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
By the way, it's not our fault. We do not own or contribute anything to this building.
So can we really be complaining right now because we're doing this without paying for anything? I
Yeah,
guess.
for real, man. It's really, you know what? It's my fault, man. I feel like
It's
I
us.
need to do some self-reflection, reflection,
Uh-huh.
and just, better the world around me.
I agree.
For real. Like, I'm just so great, and I need to share my greatness with the world.
It's because we're not living and breathing in the studio right now. I think we should move in. I think if we move in, we'll get everything on track here.
I wouldn't be able to sleep here, man. It's a little bit too hot. It's going up by the
If you
minute. It went from
can,
75 to 70.
the kitchen. No, but I feel you. Yeah, we'll start a little late. It was a little discombobulated. Other than
That's
that,
what I'm
though,
saying, man. The world around us is falling
it
apart.
is falling apart.
We're just so perfect that no one else can keep up, I feel
Yeah,
like.
what's next? Arizona's going to be more than $1?
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. 7-Eleven, I'm looking at you right now.
What's next? yeah, dude. All
Well,
jokes aside.
We have more jokes coming. But all jokes aside for this point, listen, I think it's about time we share a little bit more personal stuff with you guys here. Get to know the host a little bit more. Personally, not related to football, but I will relate it to sports in a second here, is my favorite superhero is The Flash. I love The Flash. Since I was a kid, always flash this, flash that. Wait, pause. But that was not an intentional joke.
Whoa.
Anyways, but I love The Flash, and he got his movie. Finally got his movie after long awaited, whatever. DCEU is kind of dookie.
Based on one of the greatest Flash
Storylines of all
time.
if not the best Flash story.
Hey, I'd say it is the best.
That's what I'm
actually,
saying.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, of course, I had my downsides and this guy's jamming over here. But I had my doubts. I had my this might be. It on paper, it looks really bad, but who knows? This movie can surprise us. I saw it. I was.
It did surprise us.
It surprised me. It was worse than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, even like the action scenes weren't that great.
Really bad. Really, really bad. So, but that got me thinking because it was just told that The Flash is the biggest flop Warner Brothers has ever gotten. Worse than the Green Lantern movie. And we all know how bad that movie was.
Terrible.
And that got me thinking, man, what are the biggest flops or signings in sports that I thought was going to be at least okay and was just bad. Just utterly bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I chose, obviously, I'm saying the topic of favorite things, so I chose the Eagles. The first one that came to my mind for me, there's a lot. You got a lot of them. I can give you a few, but the biggest one to me that actually and we talked about it before, that was the worst in my opinion, was the signing of DeMarco Murray.
Oh, wow.
It was one of the worst flops that I can remember from me growing up.
He went to you guys after he was on the Titans?
No, he went to the Titans after us.
Oh. Yeah, I kind of just erased his memory from my mind after he left the Cowboys.
Yeah, literally, because that's all. I mean, because that's all you had to do. Because if you just remember DeMarco Murray with the Cowboys, bro, he was
a
great
baller,
running
bro,
back.
yeah.
But you remember the rest of his career, that dude is average. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And listen, mind you, again, it was one of those things where it's this might not work. A Cowboys player coming to the Eagles, I was like, you know what? He was really good. This might not work, but man, it could surprise us. And boy, oh boy, did it surprise me. It was under Chip Kelly, and Chip Kelly sucks as a coach. And
I have a little rhyme about Chip Kelly if you want to hear it.
Oh, please, go ahead.
Said, the trades he made were smelly.
Mm-hmm.
his ego was as big as his belly.
Mm.
Good old Chip Kelly.
That's actually a great chant. I'm actually gonna use that for this season. But
For real, you should, man. Because
Yeah.
when we brought up like what we were gonna talk about, I was thinking like biggest flops, like just to piss you off, I would bring up Chip Kelly.
Oh, wow, that was
coming
one
to
of-
the Eagles.
yeah, no, that's a horrible flop. That was just yeah. He's a weird guy, and it's crazy to see all these players coming out to talk about him now. Like Deshaun Jackson came out and everything. More like obviously, McCoy and Chip Kelly had their beef, right? There's beef there, but then of course Deshaun Jackson did too. But he came out and said more. He was like, "Yeah, I don't like him. I have animosity toward him to this day. Like we were the dream team. You don't break up a dream team," and that's what he did.
Yeah, it's like the whole Chip Kelly thing was awful. The only good thing he did for your franchise was bring all the players closer together because he was the common enemy.
Yeah. So
You know, that's it.
hey,
He
man.
was the common enemy, and maybe he was a necessary villain for you guys because
It was a canon event, literally.
yeah, came back pretty strong afterwards.
But all right, what's a flop that you had on your?
I just had, thinking back to like when I was a kid, you know, thinking about all the Cowboys players. Like, yeah, we don't always draft the best,
Yeah.
but we're not usually bad enough to have like the #1 overall pick and have
Yeah.
it be some terrible pick.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, you know, when I was a kid, there's really, really great wide receiver for a few seasons, man. Miles Austin. He was a great wide receiver, putting up numbers, 1,000 yards, very consistent, great hands, great route runner. Put up a few good seasons. We were like, all right, man, he's the real deal. Gave him big money, man, big money. Once he got paid, a little hamstring issue popped up,
Yeah.
and he just never got back into form. And he was just bad, bro.
I mean, hamstring injuries are kind of crazy. They linger for.
They
for a
do,
long
man,
time.
but it's like he just never, ever. Once he got paid, he never broke 1,000 yards again.
Yeah.
He never had all the catches he had. He was never the big play wide receiver. He wasn't consistent. He was nothing that he was before the contract.
Mhm.
I just remember, like, as a kid, I was baffled by it. I was like, I don't understand how you could go from being so good to so bad.
It's the idea of getting paid. I feel like once you get paid, and then also once you get hurt, then you're like, man, maybe I shouldn't be doing what I was doing, and you're just kind of cruising. Miles
Yeah.
Austin was good. I do remember him very vividly. I also love playing with him on Madden. He was great on
Yeah, he
Madden.
was great, man.
He was cool. He's cool. I like Miles Austin.
Yeah, he was a cool guy and everything, except for, like,
I'm surprised you called him one of your biggest flops. But that's
because
fair.
I just remember him being so good and then him being so bad as soon as we spent money on him.
Yeah.
It was like, I mean, because,
That happens a lot, though, in
yeah, it happens
not
a lot.
It's
But
rare.
I was just
but
thinking
in pro
of,
sports in general, you know?
yeah, one that, like, affected me personally,
for
you know.
sure, for sure.
Obviously, there's much bigger flops out there,
Yeah.
but
All right,
what affected me personally.
for sure. All right, but I'm gonna lay it out here for you guys. What we got going on for this episode? We're cooking up here. Basically, a two-parter here, like a two. We're kind of this right down the middle. We got UFC 291 coming up.
Yeah.
Insane card. I'm so excited to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm finally super excited to talk about some football again. It's happening. Like training camp's back. Big news is coming out with the running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm kind of glossing over it. I do want to acknowledge because I have to. It's kind of a crime if we don't. Messi's debut with Inter Miami was amazing. Like it's funny. I switched onto it because I was gonna go. You know, just like I forgot that his debut was today. I put it on. And I was like, oh, it was like the 60th minute. I'm like, oh, I missed it. He's probably just subbed off or something right now, or you know. But I tuned in right when he got subbed on, and I watched the whole thing until he made the banger free kick to win the game.
Oh yeah.
And like, it was crazy. It was a movie. Everyone's calling it a movie, and that's all you can say about it. It's really just a movie. How that everything played out, and he played good. Like he looked good. I mean, he looked like he was having fun. So
Yeah, definitely. Free kick was an absolute banger.
it was disgusting. Actually,
Just about the whole world went to see that game in person.
literally.
LeBron James, Kim Kardashian,
And this brings up
among others.
and it brings up the whole debate. I saw it. I saw it like someone reposted it. Like someone was like, oh, like Taylor Swift is bigger than Messi. You know, more of an influence than Messi. And I was like,
Among white women.
but I was also like, just take a moment. You have the greatest soccer player of all time having LeBron James come to see his debut game. David Beckham, of course, because he's the he's a partial owner of the Inter Miami.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Still, that's something. Like, you have all these big name guys, and it's like, you're talking about influence. Like, come on, like that's like the biggest influence. Like, I think you can go anywhere in the world and they can tell you who Messi is.
Yeah, it's a pretty ridiculous argument.
Hey,
it's like saying that like we're more influential than like Stephen A. Smith or something. It's like, yo, maybe one day, man. But right now,
one day.
sometimes I lay under the moon.
But no, I just want to bring it up. Of course, I'm glossing over it because it was great. It was not much to talk about. He looked good. Busquets looked good. It was fun. It was a great experience. Fun time.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So, do you have a preference? Do you want to? I don't know. I'm kind of like biting at the bit to talk about this football stuff. Do you want
Go for it? Yeah. Lead the dance. Lead the dance.
All right. So there's a lot going on. All right, training camp. We'll get the nice stuff out the way first. Training camp's going. A lot of good news for the Jets fans. You've seen the tape. You've seen Garrett Wilson snagging the ball from Aaron Rodgers. You know, the ridiculous toe drag swag.
Mm-hmm.
They're cooking. Apparently they're cooking, and I'm happy, right? You know, I mean, Wilson and Sauce Gardner going back and forth in camp. A great battle. Great to see.
Also respect their decision to not have the Hard Knocks camera crew in there while they're cutting players.
Oh, they said not to do
Yeah,
that?
they said it's like, basically said it like does not show any respect for the people getting cut.
Well, of course it doesn't. Yeah, no.
Yeah, they're basically saying, essentially it's not a very like human thing to do to just be.
Oh, it's definitely not like recording
Yeah.
something and you're
Yeah.
fired. Like that's
Yeah,
anyway,
imagine getting cut from your dream job and
camera's just in your
yeah,
face.
cameras in your face.
How does this make you feel? Obviously, I am sad. I do not want to.
Yeah,
I do
yeah,
not want
it's
to see
like,
you right
yeah.
now. But yeah, no, they're cooking. What else is? There's sad news, of course. But I want to before we get all the sad stuff. I want to say all the good stuff that's going on. I mean, Eagles are doing good training camp starting up. Nothing really big right now. Anywhere in the Cowboys? Anything you see? I don't know when your training camp starts.
Nothing too crazy. Just the Tony Pollard situation. As far as not.
What Pollard situation?
We just like haven't re-signed him or anything
yeah.
yet, you know, and he's not too keen to play on the franchise tag.
Well, a lot of running backs aren't. Which
Yeah.
we're gonna. That's a little.
Basically,
little teaser.
nobody wants to play on the franchise tag.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, mainly running backs, but it's a little teaser because also signing DeAndre Hopkins got signed to the Titans. That happened a little while ago. It happened during this past week. So a little late to it, but we're seeing all these pictures come out of him. The signings. Oh, glad to be here. Listen, a part of me is like, I'm happy he got paid. I'm happy he got money, but it's like, I'm so sorry you went to the Titans. It makes me sad.
Yeah.
Because I think he's still a great receiver. I just don't like. Again, him paired up with Henry, and he's gonna have I forget the rookie, the Traylon Burks. They're gonna be good. They're gonna be a great duo. Just you have Ryan Tannehill throwing you the ball, you're not gonna go far. I'm sorry. That's it. It's so it's on paper you have everything around you, but you have Ryan Tannehill, and that's really sad. And I'm
I
sorry
mean,
for
he
DeAndre
was pretty
Hopkins.
good with some mediocre Houston quarterbacks.
That's true. So that was a great point you made, but still, it's like you would think you would want to be out of that situation by now too. So
Yeah, that's kind of one of those things where the trend recently, I feel, in the NFL, and I guess most sports really, but specifically the NFL, is teams that are actually good and competing for Super Bowls don't want to give out big money to people over the age of 30.
I mean that makes sense though.
It's
right?
like, yeah, it
I
just
mean,
doesn't, unless you're a quarterback, it just doesn't really happen.
Yeah, and that makes sense though, because you don't want
Yeah, it makes total sense. I'm not saying it's dumb, but
Yeah.
there's a reason why it's a trend. Obviously,
Yeah.
if he didn't want to take a pay cut, it was going to be hard for him to go to,
Anywhere else, yeah.
yeah, Jets, if you want to call them contenders.
I mean, I guess you have to, right?
Even
I mean,
like it's not like he's going to be able to go to the Eagles. You guys can't pay him.
I mean, yeah. I don't think he was even. I mean, of course he's on everyone's radar, but we don't.
Maybe the only team
the
I could
Chiefs.
see.
I mean, the Chiefs were
yeah, Chiefs and the Bills.
The Chiefs and Bills are the ones that I
Maybe.
thought like if you are going to, go for a championship, you gotta sign this guy. But I guess not.
But yeah, there's just
Yeah.
obviously great wide receiver, but
It's over the age of 30, so
yeah.
it's tough.
And
But
do you know how much his contract was with the
no,
team?
I don't remember.
I don't remember
He got a good amount though.
specifics,
He didn't get stiffed or anything. He got a good contract.
Yeah, it's tough.
But yeah, but no. And then I mean, I was watching some. It's not related to DeAndre Hopkins, but I was watching some Eagles guy that I fought, like he does like little Eagles news, and he's been covering training camp and stuff like that. And he said what has always been on my mind, and I'm happy that he said it, because training camp is the scariest time to be a sports fan, like NFL fan, because anything can happen in training camp. You can go down with an injury, and your season is just, it's like, it's just scary. And this is related to, because the situation of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I don't know if you're aware of what's going on with that.
Is he tweaked his knee, or?
Yeah, so
Okay.
he got carted off the field.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but they said there was no damage to his knee.
Yeah, I was about to say,
So
I thought I heard it
He's
wasn't
day-to-day,
too
he's
bad.
day-to-day, and I'm happy for that. At the end of the day,
You never want anyone to get hurt.
no one to get hurt. And of course, it's a low-hanging fruit, because he's been dissing on the Eagles and the Eagles fan base since he's left, right? And people are like going in on him, and low-hanging fruit, and being like it's like,
Yeah. Ooh, you got hurt.
yeah, it's
Karma.
like, you get, like, don't do that. We got
Yeah.
a star-studded team with a lot of players. I do not want to get hurt, so please.
Yeah, don't. There's no reason to cheer for someone to get
No,
hurt.
and I don't want to. He's a great player. I guess he felt, I don't know what rubbed him the wrong way when he left, but something rubbed him the wrong way. I don't know what it was.
Some players just use that kind of stuff as motivation too.
Even though
and
we
it's
gave
like-
him the contract, I don't know. Again, it's whatever floats your boat. So what's going on with that?
Yeah, could have been someone in the leadership of the Eagles. It could be anything.
Exactly.
In a
So, but anyways,
weird situation.
I'm from the news we've heard. I'm very happy that it's been labeled day to day, no damage, and I hope he does great on his prove it year, because that's what he wanted. He wanted to prove it year to make big money.
Yep.
And let him go do it. Hopefully he can get back on the field, because at the end of the day, football is not good when the stars aren't there. But
Yeah.
moving on to the big story, or the big thing of the offseason so far, I've been wanting to talk about it for a long time. Since Dalvin Cook got released and he was talking about being signed and everything, it was been on my mind. And now it's finally hit like a boiling point, and it's tipping over. It's the running back market. And I know you're aware of everything that's going on with the running back market.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and I'm gonna say it. I mean, I think everyone feels the same way. With this being said, though, as of this morning, Tuesday, July 25th, Saquon Barkley re-signed with the Giants. 1 year, $11 million.
Yep.
So, with that being said, again, the running back market is in shambles. The disrespect towards running backs, and I have a personal affinity towards running backs, because I think it's my favorite position in football, one. And I think, of course, I mean, playing that position is a very hard position to play, because because
Not that hard.
All right, okay. Name another position that's catching, that's blocking, getting hit on every single play.
I don't get hit every single play.
They get hit every single play. You can't tell me every time they're in, they're getting hit every single play. There's no way they're not.
Not always.
Okay, whatever you say, dude. But like they're getting hit 90% of the time. Like
I mean, I understand. What you're talking about.
They go through a lot. Like they
Yeah.
go through a lot. And I do want to preface by saying I understand the business side of it, on why you don't want to give a running back big money.
Makes a lot of sense.
It makes 100% sense. It's like,
Look
why?
at Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, Ezekiel Elliott, Le'Veon Bell, Melvin Gordon are the issues on why this is a problem. They are the people that caused the running backs that caused a big part of the market to be in shambles. But like, you look at it, you're like, okay. I mean, it also was said by an anonymous executive, and paraphrasing, where he was like, oh, like, why would I pay this guy big money when I can get his prime years out of him for his rookie contract in 5, and then go get another one and get another rookie? You know what I mean? Why do I want to pay that? And I tried really hard to like back up that, like, okay, like, you need a running back. You need a running back to get you over the hump. Like, you need that. It's like
I disagree.
But I wanted to prove. I wanted
Oh,
to
okay,
prove, and I
okay,
couldn't,
okay.
because you go back into all Super Bowl winners in the past like couple years. They don't have like a no
Yeah.
running back guy. They don't have that.
Yeah.
But regardless or not, right? I do think what they're being paid is not fair.
The thing, I think running backs have been overpaid for a little bit now.
Overpaid.
As far as the top dogs,
Okay.
like the 3 names we just put out, right? They were all overpaid. At the time, it looked like, top running back,
Yeah.
fine contract, you have to lock them up.
Yeah.
I think teams and owners and GMs are starting to realize the age of having one running back with like a decent backup is kind of
Yeah.
over. You kind of need 3 NFL level running backs. The running back by committee
Yeah.
recently has been stronger than just one guy.
Of course.
Outside of maybe, like Christian McCaffrey, like you look at like the top 3 running backs in the league, it's like, okay.
I mean,
But
Nick
they
Chubb is
haven't
also-
really been on great teams. Like the 49ers
Yeah, that's
got there.
That's the argument.
He just got there,
Yeah.
It's not like
and that's the argument being made. It's like you have these great running backs, but how valuable are they? Because if you had a great quarterback, you can make a team go somewhat far, right?
Yeah.
But if you have a phenomenal running back, can they carry a team? And clearly the answer is been no, right?
the only running back I've ever seen carry a team was Adrian Peterson when he carried a terrible Vikings team to, I think they got 1 playoff win.
Yeah.
And maybe they lost in the last second, I forget. That's the only time, and it was to 1 playoff win.
Mm-hmm.
Given it was not that great team, I'm not saying
Of course.
he should have carried them any further. He did an insane job. It's the only time I've ever seen a running back throughout a season carry a team. There's games, where people go crazy, obviously.
Of course.
But
no.
throughout a whole season,
But-
running backs don't really they contribute a lot.
Yeah, I was
obviously,
gonna say
but
you guys again
I'd rather sign almost every other position to big name contracts than a running back.
Oh yeah, again agreed. Business wise,
Like, obviously, quarterback.
but
Obviously
they're
that
still
one.
undervalued. I think. Oh snap!
If they're undervalued, it's very slightly. It's just that
I disagree.
people look at old contracts that at this point are outdated. Like the Zeke, like nowadays, no one's gonna give someone a Zeke contract, right? It's like there's no people saw how that
Yeah.
went. Not gonna do it anymore.
Hmm.
It's like no one's signing Colin Kaepernick to a big deal. There's some things that the NFL just looks at and is like, yep, this guy was good for a little bit, or this
Yeah.
system was good. Like no one's still running the triple option every play.
But the issue is it's a slippery slope. Of course, already the max is 16. The max that Barkley wanted was 16 million. He didn't get it, right? He got paid a little bit.
I'm really hesitant to pay a running back over $10 million a year.
So okay. The problem is that I think the value of the position is worth more than what these running backs are getting paid. Now here's why though. But so I'm trying to formulate this. I was having this conversation on vacation, and my girlfriend's brother-in-law is a big Bengals guy, so shout out to him for giving me the this little piece of tidbit. He's a Bengals fan, and he follows Bengals what's it called reporter or just someone who covers the Bengals, Joe Goodberry. The issue about it is they just want to the running back position needs to be acknowledged for it. You need to be paid for what they're doing. You need to be paid, right? But the issue is you don't want to give all the money up front, right? So, and of course, not every running back is worth a 16 million. You know what I mean?
I'd say no running back is worth 16 million a year.
I mean, I think a running back is worth 16 million, but can they get paid 16 million? No, but I think they're worth 16 million. I think a lot of running backs should if I had to choose out of all the why I don't know, running back being the one being this slight-handed or this dissed is kind of crazy to me. Because again, they're one of the most important positions in they take a lot of the brunt work. They do a lot of the hard work. They do a lot of the dirty work.
I'd say the linemen clearly do more dirty work though.
The linemen are of course underappreciated, but again, I just think the value. If you have a great running back, you would want to lock him up, right? You would want to keep him. And the
I
problem
would
with Zeke-
I'd say the only position that I would value less as far as paying someone $10 million a year or more, 16, whatever it is,
yeah,
would be like tight end.
fair.
Or, well, obviously like fullback, but fullback isn't really
They
a
don't exist
position anymore. Yeah.
I mean, again, also going a slippery slope of how this continues, and the running back position is not going to be anything anymore, and they're going to have wide receivers lining up in the backfield, being like, "But I identify as a running back, so don't pay me as a running back. I mean, I identify as a receiver, so don't pay me as a running back." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Slippery slope, but again, long stretch. But anyways, the point of it is to protect the veterans, right? It's to protect people who want to get contracts, and I think this is a great one. So, hear this out. It's a program offered. The idea is through like the CBA or like the players union or whatever it is. Or it says add a program. This is what Joe Goodberry says. And it's kind of similar to what Chris Sims' proposal was too. Is add a program along the lines of the rookie performance program. Make it for veterans and focus the bonuses on touches and market share of the offense, total snaps, and tackles. For like total snaps for O-line and tackles for defense, right?
Yeah.
That way, if a running back touches the ball second most on the offense, 200 plus touches, they get a performance bonus on offense. On offense, where they're grinding the running back to a pulp, he'll be compensated for his punishment. The market says running backs aren't worth much anymore, but we can all agree that they take the most beating and touch the ball more than anyone outside of the QB. Running back's the star position until you get to the NFL. Let's keep it viable long term. And they call it the hazard bonus.
I understand what you're saying.
And I agree. I like that. Like, if you don't want to pay them up front, cool. Then make
But I
it
feel like
all
most
incentives.
players already have incentives in their contracts.
But
and
that's the
stuff.
thing, though.
But that's the thing, because running backs don't want the incentive filled. They want the money up front because
But
they're
it's-
afraid that if they get injured, they're not going to get any of the money.
That's true. But it's also, you have a point with that, but it's also different. Incentives aren't backed by, like, the union. Incentives can be, like...
It's something that the players and agents negotiate. It's
Exactly.
a very
Yeah,
individualistic thing.
obviously, I mean, it's shady, but it's been done before, where a receiver has a certain a catch quota, and they pull him in like week 17 or sit him.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
But
That's
the
a
thing is, though, with 200 plus touches, like if you are the star running back for your team, and you are causing them success, they're not going to pull you for you not to get whatever it is to get paid through a league, like not even through like a contract, but through like the union. Like they can't do that. Like it's literally like that's not how that works, because then it's like, all right, then you're blatantly disrespecting the position. And I agree. I think it should be not incentive, but you know what I mean? It should be based on touches, and it should be based on workload. And the point he made about the running back touching the ball the second most besides a quarterback is true.
Well, technically, the center actually.
Touches every play on offense. But no, and I just think the idea of is good. Protecting the veterans is great, because like I said, though, I mean, a slippery slope. I mean, in my dystopia world here is that like, okay, just like fullbacks are gone. Running backs,
Everyone just goes West Coast style. With
and no one wants to play. Like,
Yeah.
like if you telling me if this continues, pay less, the idea of a running back gets like, oh, we don't want to be. No one will want to play running back anymore. Everyone plays receiver or whatever, and then you have a receiver running back hybrid, kind of like Debo, but then they'll be the running back, but then also be pass catching. You'd be like, well, I identify as a receiver, so I'm going to be paid in the receiver market and not the running back market. But again, that's like a dystopian world, and of course, that's not how that really works. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's the idea of you have to value this position, and the disrespect behind the position is crazy. And again, Zeke, the Zeke signing is bad in hindsight. At the time, it was good. It's not bad. I think the one that you could definitively say, and he even came out and said he made a mistake, was Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell is the epitome of the reason, in my eyes, is he could have got paid more with the Steelers, done good still, right? And then he would have been a catalyst for the argument of being like, paying running backs is a good thing. But he decides to not play for the Steelers, get paid less for the Jets, and then whatever he was doing, whatever he was doing, decides not to take it seriously and has a horrible season.
He started
after that.
boxing.
I mean, now he started boxing. But my point being is, it's like, what do you like? Why? Like,
Dude, that's what, honestly, That's a great point, actually. Hold up. Man, if these running backs want to get paid, why not start boxing, man? They're giving out big contracts to all these boxers, man. Look at Le'Veon Bell. I
that's
don't know how
different.
much he was getting paid, but he went to boxing. He's making money still. You know, look at
Man, that's
an
a
MMA.
different-
Francis
that's different.
Ngannou went to boxing.
That's a
He's
different
gonna make
conversation
lot of
for a
money.
different time. Celebrity boxing.
Say, running backs are, if they want to get overpaid, you know, go box, bro. Get overpaid for that.
Yeah, no, but again, so that's my whole spiel on my whole like rant on it is that like I think running backs are undervalued, and no matter what, like even if like the idea of like, well, they haven't been on, like you don't need a big name running back to win a Super Bowl, like they haven't been on one for a while, you don't need to pay one, but it's like you should pay a position what they're worth. I feel like, and they're not being paid what they're worth. That's my argument about it. It's not because I think it's like by their name value. It's because by their position, I think they should be paid more, or get the money they deserve. But
I would
go
say
ahead, Taker, what you have. I know you have some stuff.
it's not worth to overpay. Like you see a lot of other positions, people will voluntarily overpay. Like quarterbacks, people overpay for all the time because they want to lock up a good quarterback. They don't really care as much to lock up a good or great running back. They don't want to overpay. So they're going to, offer him a little bit under the market value nowadays the market value is pretty shot, but under what they deserve, in quotations.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't really care that much if they up and leave. If some other team wants to overpay them, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got a pretty good quarterback, some other team wants to overpay him, you're saying, no, it's hard to get one of these.
Mm-hmm.
Running backs, kind of, there's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Teams run through running backs like crazy.
And I'm sitting on a high horse here. I mean, the Eagles are kind of doing it this year too. We decided not to pay Miles Sanders, and we got 4 running backs in our whatever running back room. In my opinion, I think having the level of running backs that we have compared to what Miles Sanders is, I mean, we have 3 high caliber.
Real, yeah.
But again,
Jalen Hurts, great running back. No, I'm just kidding. He's a really good quarterback.
but yeah,
His rookie year, he was a running back, but after that, he's been a great quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's, in my opinion, why we don't see, especially this offseason that's going on right now, why we're not seeing people lock up the big contracts, especially right away. Because the teams, obviously no one wants to overpay for anyone, but teams are way more willing to overpay for almost every other position. Other than, like, tight end, like we said. No one really wants to commit long-term value worth a lot of money to a running back anymore. And it's a little bit sad, right? Because I think back to, DeMarco Murray on the Cowboys, like Zeke in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the Cowboys, thinking about, like, Adrian Peterson's probably one of my favorite players to watch ever.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Marshawn Lynch in, like, his absolute prime was a beast.
Mm-hmm.
But he, like, Jamal Charles, I
Mm-hmm.
think back to, was an amazing running back in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, LaShawn McCoy, can't forget about him.
Of course, yeah.
Amazing. It's just those guys don't exactly exist anymore, especially Adrian Peterson.
And I agree with what you're saying, because like you said, like the running back by committee thing is a big thing now too. So.
And it's just like, if you overpay for a quarterback, it's okay. Like, people, like,
Is it?
technically, like, Patrick Mahomes is overpaid, technically, right? Because he's getting paid, like, a lot. Like, they overpaid to lock him down for, 7 years or less than that now, but whatever his contract was at the time.
Yeah.
They're willing to overpay because they don't want this guy to go. Teams are willing to overpay, linemen a little bit. Teams are willing to overpay wide receivers sometimes. Teams are no longer really willing to overpay a running back.
Mm.
It just is what it is. It's unfortunate, but I think it's been a long time coming. And I'd say they're maybe getting a little bit underpaid now,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's the pendulum swinging. They were getting overpaid, so now it's going to swing back to the other side. They're going to get underpaid, but eventually it's going to line back up in the middle, and they're going to get paid what they deserve. It's
And
just,
what that is we don't. I mean, yeah, right.
I'd say the best running back, like, I don't know who you have as the best running back, but let's just say
mean,
Christian
it-
McCaffrey
Well, I mean,
or
personally, I
Nick
mean,
Chubb
yeah,
or
Nick Chubb, yeah.
Nick Chubb.
Well, that's so hard. Christian McCaffrey's so good. I don't know. But yeah.
Either way, they're 1 and 2.
One
It
of the
doesn't
two,
matter.
yeah.
I'd say to a team per year, I'd say Nick Chubb and McCaffrey are probably worth like 13, 14, maybe 15
That's-
mil at max.
But again, that's what they're looking for. That's fair.
But like, you take a few steps down. I'd say Saquon, Barkley. Depends again how long. Like the shorter the contract is,
Yes.
the more you're gonna get paid a little bit. The longer it is, the less you're gonna get paid.
That's how
'cause-
it works.
yeah. But like,
My
it was just a
business guy over here.
1 year deal, right?
Yeah.
If I had to sign a running back to a 1 year deal, there's maybe 3 or 4 I would pay more than $10 million a year.
And that's fair. Again.
Well, maybe for 1 year, but
mean, but you
or
have to-
actually that
But you had to set the
I
bar.
misspoke a little bit. Let's put like 3-year deal. Christian McCaffrey, Nick Chubb. I'd say maybe Derrick Henry.
He's getting there in age.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then I'd say Miles Sanders probably worth like 11 mil.
I mean, he got paid what? I think like $7 million or $7 million. I think with the Panthers.
Over how many years?
I think it's. I don't know. I don't remember. Couldn't tell
Yeah,
you.
it's like
Again.
I don't know. I think
But I agree. And
unless
again,
you're top 3, I'm not paying you more than $10 million a year. And even if you are top 3, if I'm a competing team, I don't know if I.
again, and someone, and again, this rule isn't for all running back. Or the idea for all. I mean, Miles Sanders should not be paid Nick Chubb money or Christian McCaffrey money, or
Yeah, but I'm
Derrick
saying,
Henry.
like
Yeah.
the absolute most I
Yeah.
would pay for the best running back in the league
listen.
is 15 a year.
Yeah.
The most, and that's in my opinion still overpaying them. But because
It's
they're
good
the
to
best in their
overpay sometimes,
position,
Yeah.
you might want to lock
Exactly.
them up.
No, that's fair. But I think it's also the idea of here, I'm gonna say 2 things. One is that at the end of the day, my whole point of this argument, if you can, I think we're arguing the same thing, but I think at the end of the point I'm trying to make, and you can agree or disagree, is I think running backs are undervalued, without money wise, but just how they're being treated, they are undervalued in my opinion. What do you?
I somewhat disagree.
Okay.
Definitely.
Cool. Now, that's what I was trying to say, because we're saying the same things, but also it's like, yeah, I just think that no matter what, they're just disrespected. But I do want to say
I
this
don't know,
though,
it's kind of weird.
and I do want to say this though, the idea of this is obviously a niche or like a small, like it's not a really good argument to make, but I want to just make the point. The Giants. If I was a Giants GM, the contract I would have spent $16 million on Saquon over giving Daniel Jones a contract. That's just me.
Yeah, Daniel Jones
Because
is
who's
like
more
pretty mid-tier.
because who's more valuable? Like, I think Saquon's more valuable to the Giants than Daniel Jones is.
It's hard to say that about.
That's fair.
Because, like, obviously, in my opinion, Saquon Barkley is more skilled as a running back than Daniel Jones is skilled as a quarterback.
Correct.
But he's still a quarterback. That's the thing.
Oh well,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, well, like, even if you take an account for their positions and stuff, I'd say they overpaid for both.
I agree. Not the both thing. I agree they overpaid for Daniel Jones.
Well, I
because
guess
he's not-
Saquon,
because in my
since it's
opinion-
1 year, they technically didn't overpay.
Yeah,
but
in my
if it's
opinion,
1 year,
yeah,
it's hard.
It's
to-
one of those things where it's like I don't think. Yeah, it's weird. But I
I'd
at the end of the
definitely
day,
say Daniel Jones was more important to their success last year than. Well, obviously their coach was the most important, but I'd say
Yeah.
Daniel Jones was the most
I mean, Daniel Jones
important.
did have a better season statistically than he doubled like every stat. But I mean,
Yeah,
it's like doubling 2,000 yards and like 12 touchdowns. So
yeah. For it's like if you got $10 in your bank account and you go to 20, it's like
yeah.
all right, bro.
Woohoo, literally. But no, it's just my big thing though is that like regardless, I mean, you can feel the way you feel, I feel the way I feel. I just think running backs are undervalued in my opinion, and I think no matter what, they should protect the money they make. And of course, people are already mad about how much athletes make, whatever. But I think in this situation, if we're just talking, everyone in the sports world, I just think they need to be paid or protected more with what they get paid. That's just me though.
Maybe yeah.
And they
It's
fixed it
just
by,
such an injury heavy, and it's hard to come back
But
from
why-
injuries too. Everything.
But that's the exact reason why. I mean, like because why is such an injury-heavy sport? It's because they touch the ball. They're so like used in an offense, but they're being treated like you're so dispensable.
Yeah, it depends. I guess it's kind of, if you try to make the comparison to the NBA, like if you have a 7-foot-tall center who can't move or can't shoot, at this point, like there's kind of no point. If you're a running back and all you can do is kind of, get the ball, run for a few yards, you can't block too well, you can't catch too well.
Again, yes.
Teams aren't going to pay you. But if you're, Nikola Jokic, you can do everything within the game.
Yeah.
Teams are going to pay you. But there's not a lot of running backs who are good at everything.
That's very true.
Like, even if you look at Christian McCaffrey, he's not, like, for his size, he can block okay.
But
he's not really, you don't put him in there to block. He can't block exactly. And even as, like, a running back, he's not built to take a long bunch of punishment over a whole game and everything. And then you look at, like, say, Derrick Henry, who is built to take that punishment and can do that. He can't exactly catch super well. He can't route run. Mm-hmm. Like, in my opinion, if running backs want to get paid, they have to step up their game a little bit.
And that's a very fair argument, and I agree with you, to an extent. But I think there's also this idea for the middlemen, or like the middlemen, like the middle of the pack running backs, where they're not great, but they're not bad. Like, I feel like with the market where it is, a mediocre running back is being shoved to the side with a not so good running back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is like a pretty sharp drop off.
There's either your top tier running back or you're everyone else.
You're
You're 29 other running backs. That's what I feel like. But again,
that's probably true.
That's what I think. That's what I should preface it. But that's what I.
That makes sense. Yeah.
There needs to be a definitive like this, and this, and this, and not feely like like.
I'll get on your side with that one.
Yeah. All right. Cool. At least we came to a middle ground. At least we didn't. At least we didn't say post to post the whole time. Oh man, I had to do that once. But yeah. All right. Well, that's a big thing. We'll see where it goes. I'm excited to really hope they get something done or some protection in place. Again, it's going to be a years in the making, I feel like. So, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how
the
next few years over how the running back market evens out.
Hopefully, it should. I mean,
it will. Yeah.
You're my business guy. Give me the numbers, man. Punch in the numbers. You're my financial guy. Come on. But yeah. Actually. Yeah. Moving on though, I'm so excited to talk about this card. I know you are. You're
UFC
I know. This is the one that you're chomping at the bit at to get to. I know. But listen. Early prelims was like 2 fights in the early prelim, or 3 fights, because Maverick and Medic and Vergara. I think the prelim card, not the early prelim card, and the main card, of course, is just stacked.
Yeah.
Now.
I was like, when I was looking through it, I just skipped straight to the first fight I really thought about was the Derek Lewis one.
Yeah, same. Yeah, because I don't know.
No disrespect to everyone else, but.
Yeah. So, is that where you want to start?
Sure, yeah. So, Derek Lewis versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima.
Yeah.
I like that name, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
Pretty
Shout
cool.
out Marcos, man.
Yeah, for real.
Love you, bro.
Yeah. I don't love him, but I like him.
Shout out my little bro.
Seems like a cool guy. Thinking about this fight, if there isn't a first-round finish, this is probably going to be a boring fight.
It's going to be a first. I think I want to look at the odds, but the odds for it being the first-round finish is probably just it has to be minus. It has to be negative money. It has to be minus.
And I'm just afraid for Derek Lewis.
I am too.
The little that I've heard about Rogerio de Lima,
he's pretty good.
He has some, pretty good on the ground, which is very, very bad for Derek Lewis. And he's also pretty good at leg kicks, which is also very bad for Derek Lewis. And Derek Lewis, based on, I don't obviously know him personally or anything, clearly, but he would, whip my butt probably if he knew me and what I'm about to say, but he just doesn't have the dog in him anymore, bro.
Yeah, that's what it looks like in the last 2 fights, yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and no, I mean, he's a little bit older. He's got a lot of money now. He has kids, wife, everything. He just does not have the dog in him anymore. Maybe he'll bring it back out.
Who knows, right? Hopefully.
I just don't think he will.
Yeah.
I pray he doesn't get knocked out cold and retires on that. I want him to be able. I don't know if this is the fight he's gonna retire or the one after that, but it should be one of the next two.
I think it might be this. Well,
I
don't
just
know,
want him
man.
to be able to give a goodbye speech in the octagon. I mean, I know that's not totally his
call.
vibe and everything,
We'll give a
but
little,
I want
last
him
funny
to,
speech, you know?
just one last, thank you to the fans
Yeah.
and everything. So I hope he doesn't get knocked out cold. I hope Rogerio de Lima just kicks the crap out of his legs, and Derek Lewis kind of gives up a little bit, and he say, "Hey guys, thanks for watching me my career."
Yeah.
Says something funny, takes off his pants or whatever,
Finally, right?
yeah, do whatever he needs to do. Ride off into the sunset with his family, enjoy the rest of the life eating Popeyes and everything, which is not. That's not a bad statement. He said himself he likes Popeyes.
Yes, I know. I know. Yeah.
It's a Derek Lewis fight in 2023. It's
What do you expect?
sorry, man. Do you disagree with anything I said?
I don't disagree at all.
I think that's the general sentiment.
I mean, I agree with that's what I want to happen, but we live in the real world, and I think what's going to happen, and Ryan's going to kill me, and I'm sleeping on Lewis. I'm sorry. Maybe it's what he needs. Maybe he needs me not to believe in him, and he'd be like, "Oh, Marcos, you believe in me right now? Let's go."
Yeah.
I think Marcos de Lima gets the first round TKO. Not I don't think he'll knocked out cold, but I think he might hurt him, gets him on the ground.
Just beats him up. Yeah.
That's where it goes. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, probably right.
What do you got? Do you have a prediction for it, or?
Yeah, I think he's either gonna get. I think he might get hard leg kick, kind of falls down a little bit. Maybe hard leg kick into one or two punches.
Yeah.
Falls down. De Lima follows him to the ground. Derek Lewis either gives up his back and gets choked out, or
Yeah.
he just gets elbowed to oblivion while he's getting controlled.
Kind of the same sentiment. I'm
Yeah.
having here, yeah.
Basically, most Derek Lewis losses at this point.
Yeah.
I guess moving on, not too much to talk about there anymore.
Yeah.
Gabriel Bonfim versus Trevon Giles, or Giles, I don't know how you pronounce it. Sorry, Trevon. Gabriel is much better than his brother Ismael. Gabriel Bonfim is actually a very legitimate prospect.
Has hands.
I know he has hands, but he might have a little bit of issues with Trevon's boxing.
You think? I mean, of
Maybe
course.
a little. I'm not saying he's going to get outclassed. I'm
Yeah,
saying
but,
there
if-
might be some issues.
Yeah, he'll call, if he's not on his A game, he'll catch him slipping. Because I know.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
he's just going to try to stand up with him to somewhat success. He might win the round, he might not in the first round.
Yeah.
I think in the second round he's going to mix in the grappling and submit him in the second.
That's fair. No, it's so hard to predict where I think it's one of those fights where I think
Bonfim's very well rounded.
Yeah, it's predicting when Bonfim's gonna win. You know what I mean? When and how, right? Again, I don't think Bonfim is gonna get the. I just think because he's so well rounded and understands the game, and I think Giles is good enough to survive the first round. But again, I just think Giles going up against the stand-up game of Bonfim, to that level. It's how long can he endure it, like you said. So, and I think this time Bonfim gets the KO in the second round. I think he gets it done in the second round.
Yeah.
But
I basically agree with you in the timing.
Yeah,
I have a sub, you have a knockout.
Yeah, I think this time it's gonna be one of those things where I think this time he shows how good he is on his hands. Hands,
he wants to show it off.
So.
And then moving on to the main card.
Listen, this
Michael
main card
Chiesa,
is
Kevin Holland.
It's
It's very good. I like it.
I'm so excited for it. I am.
Yeah, first one.
There's a lot of feelings though in this one. I feel like there's a lot of.
There is. I'm betting with my heart on most.
Yeah, there's a lot of these where my brain's saying logistically why you're doing that, but my heart is like, I'm picking these guys.
Yeah. So, Kevin Holland, Michael Chiesa. Obviously, with Kevin Holland, is he going to get taken down and controlled the whole time or not?
Yeah.
That's basically all of his fights. Other than, like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. But we'll talk about his kickboxing pedigree later. Thing with Michael Chiesa is he's like very, very bad at punching or kicking.
Yeah.
He just looks awkward. I mean, obviously he'd knock me out, right? But anyone who's in the UFC basically has better stand-up than Chiesa. Sorry, Michael, but it is what it is. It looks really ugly. It's not visually appealing, and you're not like super good at getting the fight to the ground, you know? Although Kevin Holland's very bad at keeping it from getting to the ground.
Exactly, yeah.
But I think Chiesa's going to keep it standing for long enough for Holland to clip him
Yeah, I agree.
and finish him.
I agree. I've
Yeah.
Holland finished too.
I think he's going to get it in the first round too.
Oh, that'd be so
Because
great.
if
I
he,
have
if he
it, I have
isn't
it
able to
different.
knock him out in the first round, I think Chiesa's eventually going to get him down and just sit in half guard and hold him
I
there
agree with
and
you, but I disagree. I mean, I have
maybe side control or something.
I have Holland getting a finish in the third by KO, and it's rare because it's hard to get a KO in the third. But my idea behind it is that, like, again, if Holland could just stuff the takedowns, right, force Chiesa to throw with him, which
I don't know if I've ever seen Kevin Holland stuff a takedown.
yeah, right, but I just think if he can keep it on the feet, and if I think Chiesa can do a good job of prolonging the inevitable until the third, and I think that's when Holland can clip him. Because Holland got tested. Steven tested that fight.
I mean, he was there. He wasn't getting
tough.
dominated. He was there
wasn't,
with him.
and he was doing good with a broken hand.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland is tough, not in the good sense. Not because that guy's tough because he takes a beating. No, he's
Yeah.
tough because he is, and he's throwing back with him. I think I like your pick on it being a first round KO, but I have to go with my gut, and I have to think it's gonna be a third round KO for me.
Yeah, I just think if it
TKO.
lasts that long, Chiesa's gonna take it down and finish him or choke him out or tire him out or something.
I think so, but I don't think Kevin Holland's gas tank is that like. I think since it's not a 5-round fight, it's a 3-round fight. I don't think by the end of the third round.
Oh,
he's gonna
yeah,
be,
yeah, he's gonna be
You know what I mean?
fine.
He's gonna be fine.
But it is
Something
one
to do.
thing to note
Yes.
for this card specifically.
Yes.
It's
yes,
at elevation.
Yes.
A lot of elevation.
Yes. I didn't even think about that either.
That is something to
Well,
note.
that plays into my pick
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, well, that will play in later. Next, Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green.
Again. I feel for both these guys.
I'm gonna say Tony by decision.
I think.
Bobby Green's so inconsistent, you don't really know what's going on.
No.
And when you look at Bobby Green's best performances, and this is kind of gonna go against what I just said. Bobby Green's best performances are when he's on the back foot counter-striking.
Yes.
When he has to go first, he loses. That's what it is. He's a great counter-striker. That's about it. Amazing counter-striker, but that's it. And the thing with Tony is, what does Tony do? He loves going forward and pushing the pace.
Yes. He does.
But I want Tony to win, man.
Me
I
too.
need him to win.
I agree with you. No, I agree with everything you said there. And I'm gonna just say,
He looked terrible in his last fight.
but yeah, I guess Diaz is bad, and I think Bobby Green has looked okay. Like he's looked, but again, shaky, like you said, it's inconsistency.
Yeah.
But I think again, whoever made this matchup, great matchup. Two likable fighters that people like. You know what I mean? So, but again, I think unfortunately, I want
Bobby Green's probably going to win.
I want to say Bobby Green by decision, but I have a weird feeling that he will get a knockout in the second round.
Yeah, it's possible.
But again, I'm so like, I don't know if you noticed, but every time I make UFC predictions, I'm always predicting knockout or submission. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you don't want to bet on the decision. But
Yeah.
I actually have a lot of decisions in this, I think.
that's fair. I do not. Oh, actually, I have one. So
Yeah, well, yeah,
I think Bobby Green gets the finish in the second round. I think it's going to be a TKO.
very possible.
Yeah.
Then next, Steven.
Actually, I have two. I'm wrong. I have two. So continue. Yeah, I just realized.
Steven
we're-
Wonderboy Thompson versus Michel Pereira. I have another.
This one's
I
interesting,
think
though.
Thompson by decision.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go with too. But I was hesitant. Only because I know how great he looked in his last fight. Wonderboy looked. He looked amazing. I forget Mike Pereira's last fight. I'm blanking on it. I couldn't even remember when I looked up the name and everything.
I don't remember
It's one of
exactly. It
those
might have
things-
been like Ponzinibbio or
Yeah,
something
but
like
it's one of
that.
those things where you have to like. Again, isn't it like 72% of the time when the fighters' age difference is like 11 years? It's like 72 and like 72%.
Michelle Pereira's not exactly young though.
No, but he's 11 years younger than Wonder Boy.
Is he really? No
Yeah,
way.
he's 29.
Michelle Pereira's 29.
29.
I thought that dude was like 33.
There you go, right? But again,
But he's been fighting for a while.
yes, but also knowing how good Wonder Boy is, I think he, exceeds, like, doesn't fit, and he's an outlier in his data. He looked really good in his last fight,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to go with decision as well. That's what I was
Yeah,
gonna
I think
say.
he's just gonna be better on the feet.
I agree. I think he'll do enough to get I don't think he'll do enough to pick him apart, but he won't be enough to get the finish. I mean, you saw it with Kevin Holland too. Not for nothing. Kevin Holland's tough, but he didn't get with the broken hand. he didn't get the
Technically, yes. Well,
finish. Well, it was.
It's a doctor stoppage,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
The
But you know what I
corner,
mean, but
the corner
technically
called it.
Technically, it was. A finish,
corner
yes.
called it,
You're right.
yeah.
You're right. It technically was a finish. I forgot, but you know what I mean.
But it's also like Kevin Holland broke his hand by punching Stephen Thompson's forehead. It's not like
Not
there's some
but also-
injuries
but it
where
was
it's like the
also-
fighter caused it.
Yeah,
That one was a little bit.
but
unlucky.
also it was also him covering his head kicks.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Again,
I'm
so-
sure that didn't help.
Yeah. But again, I would love to see a Wonder Boy knockout. That'd be crazy.
That would be amazing.
But I think you're
And it's
right.
totally possible. I think that's not a bad bet at
Yeah.
all.
It's not at all.
Especially because Pereira isn't known for having like an amazing
No.
chin.
And he's gonna push the gas a little bit on it.
Yeah. And then
This was good.
Uh,
I'm
moving on to the
I think
co-main.
I think we have totally opposites on this one. I'm sorry.
I don't know. We'll see. I think I might have agreed with you actually here. Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira.
Woo! Listen, don't get it
It's hype.
twisted. When Pereira was fighting Adesanya, I didn't want him to win. But don't get me wrong, I like Pereira as a fighter. This dude is
really cool.
He's so chill. He's cool. He's tough. And tough
Yeah.
as in TUFF tough. Not like
Yeah.
tough. But he also is tough. But
Yeah. So
I'm excited for this.
I guess the one of the big stories, or not stories, but the
Oh, yeah.
thing of the fight. Well, obviously there's title implications here because of everything that's happened with the light heavyweight weight class.
Yeah.
But Jan Blachowicz is one of the best leg kick checkers in the sport right now.
Yeah.
Alex Pereira is one of the best leg kickers in the sport right now.
Yeah.
Whoever's going to win that battle is going to be big for the fight. That is, yeah. I mean, if you get your leg kick checked, it hurts a lot. If you don't check a leg kick, it hurts a lot.
From what UFC has taught me. UFC 4.
Yeah. And obviously you look at Jan Blachowicz. Oh, he beat Adesanya.
It's funny. That's the storyline I was talking about. It's like, oh, imagine Blachowicz can get a win over Adesanya and Pereira.
But I
beat
think-
both those guys.
Blachowicz will wait a little bit too long to mix in his grappling,
Yes.
and he's going to get knocked out, in my opinion. I think Pereira's going to get it done either at the end of the first or
Oh
the middle
my
of the
gosh,
second.
dude, that is
Just because if we see Jan Blachowicz get a takedown early in the first round,
Then
I'm
Pereira's in
completely
trouble.
wrong.
Yeah. The first thing you see, he shoots for a takedown. Like, yeah.
but I think Blachowicz is pretty confident, especially considering he technically outstruck Adesanya. Technically. People don't say he's more skilled, but within the fight,
Yeah.
he was beating Adesanya. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But Pereira's obviously a different style of striking than Adesanya. And I think Pereira might catch him a little bit trying to check the leg kick, because Pereira no tell with his leg kicks, right?
It's crazy. There's
So
none.
Blachowicz might be paying a little bit too much attention to that.
Mhm.
Pereira's maybe going to feint
Lefty
it,
loosey.
show it, boom, left hook.
Yeah.
Kind of a boring prediction when it comes to Pereira, but
No.
the left hook is there, But on the flip side, Blachowicz is no scrub. He's a very respectable fighter, but he's getting a little bit older,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's his time anymore. I think Pereira's going to get it done. End of the first, middle of the second, he's going to knock him out.
Yeah, I have a first round KO for Pereira. I think Pereira's going to win first round because I was hearing everything you're saying and I was like, welp, the check kicks they won't come into play because it won't have enough time to come into play. But again, like you're saying, everything you said, I think the confidence thing is if he goes into there thinking he can trade or fight with Pereira, straight up boxing wise, you have some coming to you. Now here's the difference, right? if people want to use the Adesanya and then the Pereira fight, I mean, it's Adesanya and Pereira, right? I mean, if you want to use Adesanya as a gauge marker to see how Blachowicz is gonna do against Pereira, right? Listen, Pereira's comfortable in this weight. Like, Adesanya was not comfortable, right? Like, of course, it's harder for him. But Pereira, this is where he wants to be. This is where he's comfortable.
Especially at the age he is now, this is more of his natural weight class.
To the max, right? I think he's going to be loose. I think we're going to see a very, very loose Pereira in there. I think. Listen, don't get me wrong. With the Pereira we've seen, he's good.
Oh yeah.
But I think we're going to see just water, just flowing. Like, he's going to be so loose. He's going to be feeling great. He's always cool. Like, the dude has never. I've never seen a facial expression on that man's face ever.
It's also worth mentioning he trains with Glover Teixeira, who
literally tried to drown him. He tried to drown Glover Teixeira.
That was a funny video.
But okay, anyways. But again, I think, and also Pereira, he's a very smart fighter. I don't think people give him that credit. I think
he's very experienced at the least.
He's very experienced and
especially stand up, not on the ground.
Yeah,
stand up.
Yeah. He's very experienced and he like. I think he also knows what he like. Again, Blachowicz's game plan. Your game plan in this fight, if you're fighting Pereira, is like you said, neutralize the leg kicks, but also wrestle with him because clearly his wrestling isn't that good.
I think his takedown defense is a teeny bit underrated, but once it gets to the ground, he's definitely.
His defense again, yes, underrated, but once it's on the ground, yeah.
I'm not saying it's amazing, but I'm saying it's not
I agree
terrible.
with you. I know exactly what you're saying. But and if you're Pereira, you're like, listen, I know this guy doesn't want me to kick him, and I know he's going to try to wrestle me, so I'm going to do everything in my power to just find my distance and piece him up, and he knows that, and I know he knows that, and I think they both know what to expect from each other. It's whoever, I mean, I guess in every fight, right? It's whoever utilizes their game plan the best. I mean, that's how it is, right? But I think Pereira being how he is, his demeanor, him being in a comfortable weight class for him, and just how good he is, I think this is a statement. I think they wouldn't have given him this fight for his debut in light heavyweight if they didn't think like, oh, okay, he's gonna get like worked.
Yeah.
They want to push this guy too, but I just think based on everything,
there's a reason they didn't put him against Magomed Ankalaev, you know.
Yeah. But again, with that being said, it's going to be an awesome fight. I just think his striking he's so cool. He hides that left so well. It's going to come out of nowhere. It's the ones you don't see. I think he gets it done. I would say he gets it done. I just to one up you. I would say he'll get done in the middle of the first.
Okay, fair enough.
Just a one up.
Yeah, I could totally see that happening. And then main event of the night. The main event of the night.
Yeah.
Dustin versus Justin, baby. Poirier versus Gaethje.
38-38.
I'm not even going to mention the
34-34, sorry.
So-called title on the line. I could not care less about that.
Oh, dude. Not even.
Could not care less. Obviously, we look at Dustin Poirier. Great gas tank. You don't really see him get tired. But it's also, you know, Justin trains he trains at an altitude higher than when they're fighting.
Well, he trains in this altitude. Like he trains.
Yeah, you literally
where they're fighting is about the altitude Justin Gaethje trains in.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit lower. No, I mean obviously at that point you're, you know.
Yeah, Colorado. Yeah.
But Dustin Poirier trains at like 3 feet elevation
in Florida, and that's gonna come into play.
Louisiana.
No, I thought he trains out of Florida.
Oh yeah, either way, it's 3 feet.
Yeah, no matter what.
He's from Louisiana, but he trains.
He ain't built for it, bro. He ain't built for it.
And I'm not saying, he's gonna get super tired right away.
No,
not saying that, but I'm saying Justin might be able to give a little bit more, and might not have to worry about pacing himself as much. But I think it's still a 50-50 fight. I'm gonna go with. I mean, it's hard to see either of them get finished. Right?
I don't see any of them getting finished.
It's hard. It's totally possible because when they fought the first time, you know, it was. But
yeah,
I think Gaethje's gonna get it done by decision.
You switch it up on me, man. You know,
I did. Because the more I thought about it,
talking to me, like, yeah.
Because originally I'm thinking.
Just for record, I'm with you on that one. I think Gaethje gets a decision.
The Gaethje that I was aware of before his last fight kind of was just like, all right, he's going to brawl. Maybe his fight IQ isn't the best. Poirier has crisp boxing. He's going to, head movement, slip, piece him up. Gaethje against Fiziev, Fiziev
It was
showed that he is pretty dang smart as well. He pieced him up. I think he's, especially since their first fight, I think Gaethje has improved a little bit more than Dustin has.
I think he's. I think
still-
I think Gaethje's improved more.
Still both great fighters.
Yeah, but I agree. Yeah, I think.
But I was thinking Poirier the whole time. I was thinking Poirier. But, yeah, I think Justin's going to get it done because Poirier is he's very, very good. But, like, technically this is a title fight or whatever. And he's lost a bunch of title fights. Given Gaethje got murked in his title fights as well. This is both, like, the battle of the people who were really good until they got title fights and they got murked.
I mean, it's also the battle of two guys who are not going to get put out. Again, these are two guys that you don't see get put out often. Like, you just don't. So, again, I think Gaethje in his Fiziev fight looked really good, and so did Poirier. He looked very good in the Chandler fight. But in my opinion, you're fighting a fighter that's tougher than Chandler, and Gaethje also beat Chandler, so he's, I think, just more well-rounded than Chandler.
Yeah.
I think you have to, like, I think, of course, you get a slight edge to Poirier because of, his experience where he's at and, like, who's, and all that. He also has the one win over Gaethje. But I just think Gaethje, again, I think since it's such a close fight and it's all the details have been, how, like, they were, like, 7-2 since they last fought or whatever, Dustin.
Yeah, a lot of similarities.
What's it called? Justin, how close they are, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think one of those fights where even the littlest things matter, and I do think, and I think the elevation is a big thing because we saw in the last time it was in Salt Lake, people were getting like tired, they were getting gassed early, and again, like you're saying, Poirier won't show that fatigue so early, but again, that's gonna be who's gonna give it more at the end of the round, who's gonna give it more in the championship rounds. I just think Gaethje has that slight edge, as well as how good he looked from last time, and he's tough, and it's gonna be so disheartening. I think also for Poirier because he's gonna hit him sometimes and be like, man, he's probably gassed, hits him with a nice combo. How is he not feeling that? And Gaethje's walking. And
how many rounds do you think Gaethje's gonna win? I think it's gonna be 3-2.
Oh, 3-2. I agree. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be. But I can also see it being like a Moreno type of fight where like the rounds are super close, but he could have won 4-1 or something like. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I do think 3-2. I don't think it's gonna be one of those fights. I think whoever wins a round is gonna win it definitively.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be seen.
It's gonna be a great fight.
It's gonna be interesting to see how Poirier opens up the fight.
Yeah.
If Poirier's pushing the gas a little bit in the first 1 or 2 rounds, he might be in trouble.
Yeah.
That's what I think, too.
Yeah, I think we might see, like, Gaethje win 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Poirier win 3-4. Gaethje win 5.
Yeah, that's exactly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see, though. MMA is MMA.
Yeah. We never know.
Yeah, literally only God knows if he does, It seems like both these men would be willing to go to war with God himself, so... We'll see.
I forget who it was. I forget what quote it was, but someone says Justin Gaethje's the type of fighter to light himself on fire and fight you just to make sure you're a little bit on fire too.
Yeah, I'd say he was that fighter, but he's gotten better with avoiding the damage himself too.
Yeah, because he took a lot. So.
Yeah, definitely.
But again, it's gonna be a great card. I can't wait for it. Great episode today.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna do us for here. We're a little over time, but we started late because
what? Yeah.
Whatever.
What are they gonna do? Nothing.
Yeah, right. Ooh, fire us, we're getting paid. But with that being said, though, super excited. Thanks for tuning in. If you're listening right now live, we appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, post_2_post23. Be on the lookout. More posting. Everything's coming into play. Big year for us. I think it's a big year for us. I'm gonna start saying it now.
Oh yeah.
I think by Christmas time, goal to have 1,000 followers on YouTube. That's what I'm trying to do.
Easy peasy.
So if you listen to it live, go check us on YouTube. All our episodes, other episodes if you missed it. Refer it to a friend. Let them know like, yo, this podcast right here, post to post, with the most. With that being said, though.
Oh yeah. And also.
Okay.
Put a little parlay on all my UFC decisions you're gonna make a lot of money.
Oh, 100%. We're not legal betting advice though, so don't take our advice.
Yeah, we're not legal betting
Oh,
advice.
we didn't even do that though. What's your lock? I mean,
Lock?
my absolute lock.
I'm just gonna go Gabriel Bonfim.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
that's a good one. But I'm gonna go a little spicier. I'm like, I will guarantee you Pereira.
Hey, sounds good to me, man.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, that being said, that's gonna do it with us from here today. Thanks for tuning in. But we out.
See ya.